Hello and welcome. Chris Principe, financial IT publisher, here from Money 2020. And we're live. We're in Amsterdam. Best combination you could think of. Wonderful host city, the biggest, best event in Europe, Money 2020. And I'm here with my guest Moshe, we're going to talk about some really interesting things. Welcome, Moshe. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Chris.
Please tell us a little about the company.
Sure, my name is Moshe Winegarten. I'm Chief Revenue Officer at Ecompay. Ecompay is a full stack gateway acquirer processor, licensed in the UK and Europe. But within the stack, we continue to build within our stack things like orchestration, open banking, APMs, direct debits, to really meet all our customer needs through one single API connection.
Well, I tell you, that's a lot through one connection.
It is.
What kind of challenges are you solving for your customers?
So the way I see it, the payments world is always evolving, right?
Yeah.
And it starts off relatively simple, and you have full stack providers, and then there's new innovation that comes in there, and these layers start emerging on top, all right? You have gateways coming in, and now they've been integrated within the stack. Now you've had orchestration come in front of that, open banking come in front of that, subscription billing providers in front of that. And what we're looking to do is continuously build up within the stack, because to stay in front of the evolution and ensure our clients only have one place they need to go to connect.
Oh, and you're exactly right. And a lot of things that you mentioned really also speak to the evolution.
Sure.
Going all the way, open banking was big and everything. And what your customers are really looking for, though, is for you to make this all simple for them.
Absolutely. And
how do you do that?
I think it's by testing each product within each market, the demand for those, and becoming expert within that. So I think it's not just about providing a technical partner to businesses, but it's also providing a trusted expert partner who can guide them and steer them, right? For example, let's talk about alternative payment methods. We actually support a number of those across a number of markets in Europe, Asia, Latin America, and beyond. But are all alternative payment methods good for you as a business, right? And I think that's where we come in and advise, depending on your vertical, the transaction size, and whether it's going to deliver incremental value at a sufficient return to make it worthwhile. And that's where I think trusted partners can really step in and do that.
Well, what I keyed upon is that word trust.
Yeah.
How does being a licensed provider, how does that help in that delivery to your customer, a trusted solution, a trusted partner?
I think that the license is a prerequisite, right? It's table stakes to be able to support clients. But I think the trust is really earned by really understanding and being experts within the subject matter. And trust is not something to get with a piece of paper or a certificate. I think it's really proven time and again by delivering value to clients.
Well, it's interesting for me because on financial IT, we see a lot of different companies, and what I've noticed over time is that the real experts in the industry are in companies like yourself. They're not actually in the bank.
Right. No, well, what we've seen across banking is, especially in Europe, when the regulators have, I guess, enabled fintech and new players to come in and really subdivide the different parts of banking, be it payments or e-money or whatever it may be, and allowed players like ourselves to specialize within an area and provide that expertise. I think historically banks have struggled to be expert at everything, right? And that's the benefit of being specialists.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point. Is that it's hard to be an expert in everything, and you get companies like yourself who are truly the experts and focus on that all the time.
Sure.
And I like what you mentioned a little bit earlier, is that we're looking to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
So how are you able to do that? Because that's challenging.
It is challenging. So we do it not only technologically, but also geographically, right? We look where demand is growing from a consumer perspective, from a merchant perspective, and then not only that, what are the unique payment requirements in those areas, right? So we talked about alternative payment methods, in various markets, but also for local acquiring. So we're turning on local acquiring not only in the UK and Europe, also in the US, Canada, next year also in the Middle East, within those markets, and then beyond that, we kind of work with clients to see where do they want to go and what do we need to do to serve them best within those markets.
Well, when you talk about pushing into different markets, you have, country, regional differences. You also have regulatory issues
Yep.
that have to be addressed individually, and things like reporting and audit trail. So it's quite a lot of work, I think, to be able to manage all this and stay up to date.
It is, and sometimes we partner with experts within those areas. So, for example, merchant of record providers, which I think provide a really great service for clients who would like the benefits of processing locally within those markets, but taking on the legal requirements of getting a local legal entity, of the tax requirements and the liabilities, etc. And I think there we've got some really good partners who work on a merchant of record model where we can support our clients by introducing them to them, processing locally within those markets, and also taking away a lot of that headache with regards to the kind of regulation, tax liabilities, or whatever it may be.
It sounds like that you're able to enable your customers to go into areas that might be very difficult for them on their own.
With the right partners, anything's possible. Absolutely.
Great, great. Well, speaking about the right partners, we're
Mm.
here at Money 2020. What brings you guys here to Money 2020?
Money 2020 is a fantastic event. I mean, everyone is here in one place. We're back to back with meetings, meeting a lot of partners in all different areas. So some of it's in collection of funds, so alternative payment methods, new clients, potential partners here like Wero and EPI, which is very exciting, but also on the payout side of things. And there's some great brands like Pay and Thunes as well, partners we're also looking at for payouts as well. So whether it's taking money in, paying out, and the whole ecosystem within there, and also the underlying banking layers and providers as well. So we've had some great conversations with partners, some existing partners we're proud to work with, and also some potentially new ones.
Well, speaking of the potential new ones, just makes me really want to know, with everything you guys are doing, what is the future?
The future is very hard to predict, but one area I'll talk about, I think Europe is. I think there's some exciting developments, right? We've talked a lot about European sovereignty, especially with the political situation within the US, and I think the ECB and certain countries, talking about getting European sovereignty and payments. I think that's a little, it comes around every few years, right? But there have been, but realistically speaking, there have been initiatives in the past to try and unify and get we used to call it PEACH, a pan-European ACH, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the most recent initiative, I think, we're seeing with EPI, the launch of Wero in Germany, so the kind of folding of Pay. We're now, obviously they've bought Current, which is ideal, Payconique, and also Paylib in France and Belgium. I think that's very exciting, and it brings together some 4 key markets already. But then there's also the other approach. I think you've seen it with is it EuroPA and the interoperability that's now being drawn up between providers like MB or Multibanco and Bizum and Blick or Bancomat. I think that's 2 different approaches of how to unify Europe and simplify things, whether it's under one brand or multiple brands which kind of can coexist. I think that's exciting. Which method will work, or maybe they'll both work in parallel and become interoperable. I think that'll be really, really cool. And I think it's a great thing for Europeans and for business especially, to kind of boost revenues and make things a lot easier for everyone.
Well, I'll tell you, if you guys can plow ahead and give us interoperability in the future to a greater extent than we have it today, I think it's a win-win for everyone.
We will definitely try.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Moshe, for spending some time with Financial IT. It's quite a pleasure to speak with you.
And you. Thanks, Chris.
Great. Chris Principe, Financial IT.